In this video, we're going to talk about why is trading so hard. Stay tuned. Hey traders, a very warm welcome to you. Okay, so listen, we know the score. Trading is very, very difficult. To have consistent profits in the market is a challenging prospect. So why is trading so hard? I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. As always, comments below, let me know your thoughts on it. The first thing that I think is really a big cause of it is there's no right or wrong. Okay, you follow a set of instructions normally and you get a set of results. In trading, it doesn't work like that. So the feedback is not immediate. You can do the wrong thing and get positive feedback. So in other words, you make a trade that's really not the best trade in the world. And if you did it over plenty of occurrences, you'd lose money. But on that specific time, you make money. So you're rewarded for bad behavior, and then flip it on the other way around. You can be doing the right thing time after time, but you're not rewarded. You're punished, in inverted commas, by losing money. So that feedback loop that you normally get with every single thing in life, pretty much, is completely mixed. If you're learning to run faster, then as you kind of get better with your technique, or you get your fitness, improve, whatever. I can go on with any analogy that you like, but you get the point, right? You get the point that the feedback is just completely random. It's random. The only feedback you get is when you have, at the end of the year or the end of the month, maybe you're lucky at the end of the month, but end of the year, you look at your P&L and say, oh, I've lost money, I've made money, And then, even then, it's not clear as to what was the cause of the loss or the gain. Yes, you could drill down into your statements and say, well, actually, 4 or 5 really mega losing trades really were catastrophic for me, or 4 or 5 trades were just mega and put me into the stratosphere in terms of profits, whatever it may be. And then you can kind of extrapolate that out and dig down into it. But there's no kind of right or wrong. And that actual method as well may not work for the next year. So this is why the game is so hard. There's no specific genius strategy or turnkey solution that's going to work for you all the time, every time. And yes, while you might hit a strategy that works very nicely for you for a period of time, at some point that strategy won't work. At some point you have to adapt and adjust. And again, that's a skill in itself. The skill comes as a trader, especially if you've got a long time you've been trading, is adapting to volatility conditions, to kind of the cost of trading, to market conditions in terms of just the full variable of things, what influences the market, what participants are involved in it. Just the changes in the ebbs and flows, means that you can't just learn it as a skill and kind of just sit there and just do it. You have to adapt and adjust and so that's why there's no right or wrong. And number 2, I'm going to say, why is trading so hard is because you're competing against the best in the world. Okay? You're competing against the best in the world. Now, what I mean by that, if you consider something that's pretty similar, like poker, okay? If you play poker, you can go, online poker or in-person poker, you can choose the level you play at. You can go on a table where the stakes are £1. You can go on a table where the stakes are £10,000, and obviously the skill level is going to go up. If you're at a £10,000 table, you're going to be there with some seriously good players. You go at a pound table, you're going to be there with beginners and some okay players. You're never going to get really good players there, because unless they're doing it for fun, but they're going to be at a higher table. So it's all ranked. Now, in the market, it doesn't apply. You're up against the very, very, very best every single trade you take. You are taking money from the very, very best, or there's a small selection of people who are coming in who are obviously the worst, but ultimately you're playing and trading at the top level. You can't just go in and try it out at a small level first. Yes, you can adjust your position size so you're not losing as much, but the skill level required is still the very best in the world. You're up against the greatest minds, the greatest amount of money behind research and stuff. And that's why it's so challenging, because to find an edge for a retail guy is hard. It's not an easy thing to do. That's why you've got to be very specific and don't confuse it and kind of convince yourself that you can predict the next movement in a stock or a currency just by looking at the chart. You've got to have, this is why we talk about setups and specific things that occur, because you need these, because you know that the likelihood of it moving next is X, and so you take the trade. And the advantage that we have got as retail traders is we can be in and out much quickly. We're not throwing massive amounts of money around. We've got no obligations elsewhere from it. We can pick and choose when to get involved. So use that to your advantage. But that's why it's so hard, because we are playing against the very best in the world. Everyone wants to take your money off you, and you want to take their money off them. So it's this game, and that's why you pick and choose your battles. Wait until the time is right. Strike, get in, get out. Don't get overconfident. Don't get overcocky. It's that fine line, isn't it? So the first one we had is no right or wrong. The second one is competing against people. And I think the third one as well here is the money issue. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you're on a demo account, you've got people who are geniuses on a demo. You're a genius. And you know why it is? Because it's not treated like real money. You put a trade in, you'll forget about it, you go down the pub, you come back, you go, oh, I forgot about that trade. You look at it, say, oh, I've made £1,000. I'm a genius. In the real world, you'd never leave that trade on, forget about it and let it go wherever it wants to go and come back and you've made £1,000. It just wouldn't happen. And so as soon as you tie money to it, the game changes. Game is relatively easy to play without any money. It's relatively easy to kind of get in and say, okay, if there's no consequences to loss, i.e. I can be right, I can be wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong for 100 days, it comes back, oh, I'm right, but I've had a massive drawdown, there's no consequences to it. You're still saying that's a good trade? It's not, is it? Because in reality, if you had real money on the table, there's no way you'd sat through that. So there's so many variables that come into play. And a demo, you completely reframe the whole game. So the fact that there's money involved, and the fact that as well we're so emotionally attached to money, because obviously the more money you've got, the more, kind of generally speaking, I'm generalizing here, the better standard of living you have, the better choices you have, all this kind of stuff. It's such a really raw thing for us, how important money is. And as soon as we attach that to this new venture we're doing, it becomes, it becomes such a tricky thing. And also, the final thing is, number 4, is that you can lose what you've made. I'm trying to reframe that in a good sentence, but what I'm trying to say is, hey, listen, if you work really, really hard at something in a business and you get a deal, get a couple of deals, you make that money. To lose that money, you've kind of got to burn it through it with your expenses, and you know where you are with that. Let's say your expenses are 20 grand a month, and let's say you've made 250,000 from a few deals. You know that if I don't get any more deals for the next X months, I'm going to lose all that money. It's kind of a given, isn't it? You understand where the burn rate is. However, in trading, I'm just going to put a loss here, just so we know what we're talking about. In trading, you can lose it in the next day. You could have a great kind of week and then you lose all of that effort in the next couple of days just from some bad decisions. And yes, I appreciate that can happen in business too. You can make a wrong business deal, of course. But my point is, there's not many things where you work very, really hard and then the next month, not only do you not get a paycheck, but they take the paycheck away from you that you earned from the previous month. And that is why it's so challenging as well in your mind, because, you just undone all the good work. And what do you take from that? You take a positive from it because you've done good work. You take a negative because that's undone both of the good work. It just confuses the human brain, because where do you stand? So we have on this, there's no right or wrong. Competing against the best, the money that's involved in it, the fact that you can lose what you've gained, and at any point in time it can be undone. Any more you can think of, guys? If there is, stick them in the comments section below. I'm sure there are loads. And the final one I want to add, because I could not do without this, is the fact that there's so much opportunity there that becomes a negative. You can trade any market you want, any time frame you want, any size you want, any time of the day pretty much that you want. And that is a problem, because it means that people are moving from that to that to that to that to that to that to that. They've got too much leeway and it just doesn't do anything for them. This is why I'm a big advocate of narrowing it down and using filters to get into trades, being very specific about what markets you're trading, the setups you're trading, the size you're trading. Reduce that cognitive load during the day. and don't let the fact that all these opportunities are constantly being presented themselves to you influence you into getting involved with them. So those are my biggest ones, guys. Any more you can think of, stick them in below. As always, good trading. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye bye.